Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Sylvia, and if you're all about art and craft and wanting to learn, then this is your channel. Now, today we're going to do some sketching. In order to do just the sketching, you're going to need a HB pencil and any sort of eraser. You can use either one of these ones or a kneadable razor. Now these are pretty awesome because you can actually shape them so you can get into really fine areas, and generally the way you use them, you just pretty much dab and it takes off the lead off your paper. So yeah, awesome to have. So I'm going to put those aside. Now, in order to sketch, you're going to need to find a way, you've got to find your way to be comfortable. Some people find it easier to do it up in the air like this. Others, like myself, find it easier by resting the arm on the table and sketching, because I feel I have a lot more control. Now I'm just going to turn this light off. Hopefully it's still light enough for you to see. Yep, beautiful. But at least I'm getting rid of the shadow. So that's one of the things that you got to make sure of is, you know, being comfortable with your hand. Now, the best way to actually sketch first time off, and I'm not going to do it right now, I'm going to end up showing you another way of doing it, but in order to do this tomato, because this is an image that we're going to do today, and by the way, I will leave a link down below of the reference photo that I'm actually using, and I printed this one off in black and white, but I've also printed it out in colour, because later on, as we get further along in the videos, we'll actually be doing it in colour. Right now, all we're going to concentrate on is just sketching the outline, and then the next video I'll show you how to do the shading. Now, the reason why you want to learn the shading, because shading is the most important technique, because you can create portraits if you're good at shading. Okay, so what you can do is you can just draw a circle, just a rough circle, doesn't have to be perfect, and you can then use that circle in order to get your shape of the tomato. And if you are struggling even that way to create the shape that you want, what you can always do, and we'll have a link down below to my Patreon account, where you could actually download the traceable, and what you do is you just print it out and then you just keep tracing over it, and you just keep tracing and tracing and tracing, because before you know it, you will then be able to just grab a piece of paper and automatically trace it. Okay, so tracing is not a bad thing, and it gives you kind of a kick start in how to sketch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get stuck right into it, and I'll talk a little bit more about the Patreon account towards the end, because I do have different tiers that you can choose from, and by you becoming a member of my Patreon account, you'll have benefits, and you also be supporting me in what I'm doing, and you end up growing with me. You know, it's kind of a good thing. Okay, so what I'm actually going to do, and because I'm left-handed, I generally start with the right-hand side. It's an automatic thing that I do. Start whichever side you feel comfortable with. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start at the bottom here and work myself around, and then you know, come back down to the bottom. And then once that's done, I'm going to sketch in the little branch here and some of the little details. I'm not going to put all the details in, like I'm leaving this area here out, this area out, and this area out. Okay, so basically I'm just doing the little branch bit instead, but I'm going to put the details here so that, yes, it does look like a tomato. Tomato, tomato, every country says it differently, so let's just agree to disagree. Anyhow, so what I'm going to do is get started. I won't be talking as much because generally when I'm sketching, I'm busy concentrating, and I actually do find it a little bit difficult to talk while I'm sketching because I end up losing focus. And the way I'm actually going to be sketching it is my eyes are going to go back and forth, and what I'm actually going to be doing is, while I'm looking at this image here, I'm actually sort of like following the line with my eyes and sketching it in at the same time. But every now and then I'll look back over here to make sure I'm still within proportion. Okay? So let's get started. And I'm going to make sure I'm going to do it low enough this time, because this is not the first time I'm doing this video. Every other time I ended up off camera, and it's like, yeah, great, that's not going to help you guys, so let's make sure we stay in camera view. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to start sort of here. And all you want to do is just do little strokes, because the one thing I found is by doing little strokes, you get it more accurate right off the bat, and you can always go over it after. And the other important thing is, don't press down hard, okay? Because the minute you press down hard, you're going to put an indent onto your paper, so when you erase it, you're not going to be able to erase it properly because you've dug into the paper. There we go. We'll just darken this a little bit. And there's your basic shape. Simple as that. Okay? So this was part 1. In the next video, for the sketching side of things, what we're going to do is shade it all in, and from there on we'll start moving into using colours. So we'll end up resketching it again and then introducing colours to it. But in the meantime, what I want you to do is just practice, practice, practice until next week when the next video goes up, so that, you know, you've pretty much mastered this, and then we'll go on to the shading side of things so that you can practice that as well. So make sure you don't throw out all your other images that you feel you failed in, because you can still use shading on them to practice on your shading, and you're not wasting paper. Okay? Because let's face it, paper is pretty precious. So, but I do hope this has helped you in how to sketch. Now, when it comes to my Patreon account, as I mentioned before, I was going to talk about it. I've got 3 tiers. You've got tier 1, which is just your traceables, and you can get that currently for $1. I might be putting the price up a little bit, I'm not sure yet. Tier 2 gives you access to all my traceables, as well as the full tutorials. And tier 3, which is a $10 a month membership, which will give you access to the traceables, the full tutorials, plus a bonus tutorial every month. And once there's enough members in that particular one, I might even do some live ones every once in a while. I'm not there yet, so we'll just wait on that. Anyhow, I hope you give us a thumbs up, and I hope you have an awesome week, and I will catch you guys next week. Bye for now.